Hello everyone! Today I am doing something a little bit different. I have a spare hour or so, and I decided that I want to try and do a quick little watercolor sketch. I'm not really a painter. My usual medium is digital stuff. I do a lot of cel-shaded style, a lot of 2D art, but in my spare time I like to do a bit of watercolor. And I figured I'd start filming my sketches and showing the process of me sort of learning to use watercolor. So I've got a quick little setup here, and I fancy drawing some Sonic fan art today. So there was a Sonic Frontiers update that came out recently, which is the latest Sonic game. And so I thought I'd draw some Supersonic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some warm-up sketches on this page, and then I'll do a watercolor drawing on this page. So without further ado, let's get started. So I am drawing at a slightly jauntier angle than I normally would. So the drawings might come out differently than I'd expect them to, but I am just here to vibe. I want to try and get into the habit of making more videos. And so I'm trying to force myself to not stress too much about the end result and just enjoy the process. Because that's what art's about. I'm here to have a bit of fun. I've got some commission work that I've got to do today. I'm also sorting out some prep for a convention that's coming up. For those of you who are based in the UK and are of the furry fandom, if you're going to Confuzzled 2023 at the end of May, I will be there, and I will be setting up a table and showcasing my artwork. So if you're going, or have interest in going, come along, come see me, come say hey, and I'll give you a hug if you happen to mention that you watch my videos. I'm more than happy to have people come hang out with me at my table. Otherwise it makes it for a very long convention. So yeah, I've got to prepare some merch, and then I've got to get started on some commissions from a previous convention that I was at. So before I do any of that, I thought I would just set up my sketchbook and get my watercolors out and do some sketching. So I'm trying to take the pressure off a little bit and just give myself a little break. And if the drawings come out like crap, then that's how they were supposed to come out on this day. If they come out great, then that's a victory. Either way, I'm putting something out into the world that wasn't there before. So, but yeah, Sonic Frontiers, good game. Really been enjoying it. It's been a while since I've enjoyed a recent Sonic game, and so I'm just owning it at the moment. I haven't played it in a while, and a DLC update came out, so I've been getting back into it. I've also been getting into speedrunning, and I only mention that because I am contemplating speedrunning a Sonic game at some point. But for now, I have been speedrunning The Sims Bustin' Out, which is an old console game that I had in the 2000s on the GameCube. Unfortunately, I recently came down with COVID, and because I was feeling sorry for myself and wanted to try and keep myself distracted rather than getting down in the dumps about it, I thought I'd keep myself distracted and I'd play this old game that I had not played in a while. And as I was playing it, it was apparent that I know a lot of the nuances of the game, and I was getting through a lot of it quite quickly. I was sort of like, oh, why don't I try sort of speedrunning it? So I've been streaming, twitch.tv/Fluxard, and I've been trying to figure out my own way through the game, and then once I've had a few attempts at doing my own speedrun of the game, I plan to look up actual guides and stuff and see how other people do it. If you do want to come hang out with me on my streams, I tend to stream sporadically, but I am trying to get into a routine. Yeah, I tend to stream every Monday and Wednesday, and it's a combination of me doing speedrun stuff now, and I also like doing randomizer speedruns of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and occasionally Majora's Mask as well. So that's sort of what I do in my free time when I'm not doing art. And I mentioned that only because of Sonic Frontiers, because at some point I do want to try and look at speedrunning Sonic Frontiers, but for now I'm just having fun streaming a speedrun of a slightly more digestible game, I guess. Yeah, sort of having an update for Sonic has kind of reignited my passion for drawing Sonic fan art. Kind of where I got started in drawing in the first place. It was Sonic that got me on that. And honestly, like, I pride myself on that because I think Sonic fan art is a great way to sort of get into drawing. Like, the characters are very simple shapes. It's just a lot of circles on top of circles. But I find that with Sonic characters, you can kind of get away with proportions not being entirely correct. Because, especially if you draw them bigger than they're supposed to be, because I think Sonic characters kind of lend themselves to being drawn a bit more exaggerated. But yeah, I'll always, no matter where I'm at with my art, I'll always come back to Sonic, especially when I don't know what I want to draw. Like, I literally started this video going, I don't know what to draw, and I was just like, I just loaded up Pinterest, and the first thing that came up was Sonic, and I was like, yeah, you know what, let's just go with that. So here we are. Is there better things I could spend my time drawing? Probably. Do I want to spend my time drawing better things? Not in this moment. I'm going to do one more, and then I'll move on to doing a watercolour piece. I'm going to draw Tails. Because I like Tails. I also just dropped one of my pencils. Great. I guess I'll go with that one then. I'm glad I saved this page for the watercolour piece because I don't like the spine. So I'm using the Ahuhu sketchbook with various stickers and whatever. I like to decorate my sketchbooks with stickers. I used to design sketchbook front covers, but I found that's quite time consuming. Maybe I'll do that again in a future video. But yeah, I'm using the Ahuhu sketchbook. I quite like it, but I'm not a fan of like hard spine like sketchbook designs. I prefer wire-bound because I just find they're a bit more versatile. The paper quality's good though, and like it's designed for markers, and the markers work perfectly on it, so I can't complain about that. However, I just when you're in the earlier and later parts of the sketchbook, the spine is a little bit awkward. Yeah, I'll be saving this like flatter bit for a more kind of finished drawing, I think. Right. I always find Tails' proportions are quite square looking. After I just said Sonic designs are generally circles on circles, Tails can be an exception sometimes, I find. Yeah, also, I should probably mention, I am currently in the process of finding out if I have ADHD. So if I'm a bit sporadic in the stuff that I talk about, and I make on tangents, that's probably why. And nearly everyone I've told is, like, not surprised, so it's probably likely that I do have it, but it's also a long waiting list for a referral to actually find out and see if I can do something about it. And there might be times where I start talking about something and forget that I was talking about something. That's also part of just doing art as well, is that I get like in the zone and then I forget that I'm actually like talking about something. because I'm so focused on the artwork. Pencil's not behaving at the moment. So I'm using, I think they're like Helix. Yeah, Helix erasable colour pencils. They're okay, but they can be a little bit flaky, I find sometimes. That might be more to do with the sharpener than the pencil though. The sharpener's just like an unbranded, like, cheap, like school, like the school pencil case, like type sharpener. I might line this one real quick, just because I think it just needs a little bit of tidying up. I like how I've decided the smallest drawing needs to be lined. I'm enjoying his like signature tails as well. Alright, let's get in there with a small ass pen. I'm using the Spectrum Noir art liner. I'm not picky when it comes to brands of fine liners. As long as they're black ink, they don't smudge too much with like marker. I'm not too picky. I tend to use the Uni Pin ones a bit more really, but I wanted to try something different, so I bought a set of Spectrum Noir, and I quite like them. They behave well enough. I also tend to be a little bit carefree when it comes to my traditional art, so there might be times where I make a mistake because I'm being a bit too heavy-handed or a bit too scruffy. But honestly, I just kind of own it at this point. My traditional stuff is not my like serious medium. It's kind of more like a playground for me. It's my digital stuff where I tend to kind of go in a bit more finesse. I don't know what's going on with this hand, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'm never that critical about my artwork when it comes to traditional. I just tend to make fun, I guess, when I do make a mistake and just kind of laugh about it. Honestly, if I was going to do a serious drawing, I'd whack it on my tablet and get into Clip Studio. Here is not the place. Making a video out of this is a big enough deal for me, so the drawing is less interesting to me in that regard. There you go. Very big-headed tails. I'm ready to sketch something out for the watercolor piece. So, Supersonic, which, to be honest, Supersonic's design in the modern stuff is similar to Shadow's silhouette. I think that was probably intentional when Sonic Adventure 2 came out, so that they look cool side by side when they're both in super form. I do need that blue pencil back. Most Sonic characters start with a circle. That's a big circle. It's just... and I'm just copying a pose from official artwork. Because I'm not here to make an original drawing, I'm here to learn how to colour in a specific way. So right now I'm just doing a gesture drawing. Also, I suppose I should say, maybe for future videos, if there are any characters that you'd like to see me draw, feel free to pop them in the comments and I will think about it. I can't promise I'll do every single request that I get, because it's definitely based on how I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes I make it over into a video with a plan. Sometimes I make it over into a video with a plan. You what, mate? What the fuck was I trying to say? I don't know what language that is. Sometimes I make it over into a video with a plan. It's like speaking Simlish. But if there's ever a time where I want to make a video but I'm stuck for ideas, I am definitely open to suggestions. So if you leave them in the comments, I can kind of just troll through and see what tickles my fancy at the time. I'm being quite loose with the sketch as well. Like, my initial sketches are always super scruffy and super loose to the point where like I don't even think anyone could really work out what it is I'm going for. Like, it's only really me that can understand the sketches. But it's kind of like sculpting. And you know, there's something in that sketch that's already there that needs to come out, and I'm just bringing that to life. I suppose in the sense of drawing, it's more like it's in my head and it just needs to escape. If you can't make sense of what it is that I'm sketching, it's fine. Half the time I can't either. I tend to just kind of scribble about until something comes out that I'm happy with. Ish. It's got kind of noodly looking arms, but it's fine. It's quite a loose, sort of free-flowing drawing. I think I'm going to go with the line art now. I'm not too bothered about line weight. I just want to get something down on paper before I start work on like actual stuff. Not that this isn't an actual thing. And also, this is something I do quite a lot where I'll have a base sketch, but then when I do the line art, I might change my mind at the last minute. So where that ear pokes out that way, I decided to go upwards instead. I just thought that looked better. But the sketch is just a guide on where I want to make my final decisions on my drawings. it doesn't have to be. I don't have to copy it like. I don't have to copy it line for line if I decide that I think something else works better. And sometimes I might make the wrong decision as well. There is that. That's also a factor. But I think that's what I quite like about traditional. I think that's why I kind of switch off a little bit from pressuring myself to make like a perfect drawing. Is because I know that I can't control everything in a traditional piece. So I kind of just let myself go with the flow a bit more, I guess. Whereas like with digital, I just click onto the undo button a lot. Probably another video I'll do at some point is like some sort of like I can't use undo challenge, because I think that'd be a fun thing. I have to find a way to like disable that key though, because I will press it out of habit. I have the best intentions in the world of not using it, but sometimes muscle memory kicks in. Oh, it's raining outside. I can hear little pitter-patters on the window. It's quite relaxing. Especially because I don't have to go outside today. So I'll take that as a win. I don't like how that buckle's been drawn, but it's fine. Okay, we're not here for perfection. We're just here to have a good time. Here for a good time, not a long time. Yeah, baby. There we go. Sketch complete. I'm gonna quickly erase these lines. So I have got my Winsor & Newton Cotman set out, but I might use a bit of it, but I also have the Gansai Tambi watercolors, which has a slightly bigger selection of colours, and I find the quality of the paint's a little bit better. So I'm probably going to go with that. But I will probably use this to limit my colour palette. I tend to take out a select few pans of the other brand out and put it in the little mixing section of the Cotman set. But that also means that if I want to use colour from the Cotman set, it's there. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly just do some colour picking, and then I'll be ready to get started. I also have my swatch sheet for the Gansai Tambi watercolours. This is the set that I'm talking about, so I'll probably be picking out some colours from here and putting them in there. So bear with me a moment. Right, I think I'm ready to go in with a base colour. I think what I will do is... I never know whether to do the smallest area first or the largest area first. This is the other thing, is I'm quite impatient when it comes to watercolours waiting to dry. I think we're going to do a base colour all over. I'm going to go do like a yellow wash over everything. Maybe it was that a bit too extreme. Maybe everything apart from the eyes. I will say as well, I don't have a very big selection of brushes. So I find sometimes when I want to do small areas, I don't really have the adequate brush for it. I plan to get more brushes eventually, but as of right now I can't really afford them. Nor do I want to go buying loads of brushes. I will update my brush set at some point. But for now, I'm not that bothered. I'll go with that red as well, I think, for the shoes. So I'll go with a slightly smaller brush. for reds, I tend to lean more towards like magenta colours. Like Sonic's shoes are probably more of an orangey red, but I've always preferred doing his shoes with a more magenta-y sort of colour. I just think magenta looks quite nice as a base colour. What I might do is probably do the nose. I wonder whether to ink the nose, to be honest. I'm using the brown more as a grey, just because I think it'd work better with the palette. Yeah, maybe in the meantime I can work on some sort of highlight colour for the hands. While I wait for it to dry, I do also have a recently acquired white Posca paint marker, which I'll probably be making use out of when I get towards the finishing touches. I'll probably use this as like a bit of a highlight, bit of a rim lighting for the character. But for now, this is more of a finish. But that is what I use to do this. I put that in because I usually use gel pen for highlights, but I'm finding the gel pen's a bit weak on top of certain mediums, whereas I'm hoping a paint marker will be a bit more opaque. So I've got a couple of water brush pens for my brushes. One is from this set, the Winter and Newton set. This one came with a set of water-based markers, because I think it's going to be used like a watercolour. But it's ink instead of paint, but I just found that I like this brush pen more for my paints, so I just stole it from that set. And then I got a couple of brushes from, I think it was one of the Jazzer boxes. I think it was the Inky box from like a few years back, and it came with a couple of brushes. So I've basically just taken those brushes out of that set and just added it to my repertoire. To be honest, I could probably go in with the skin colour now, I reckon. Trying to get out my habit to tend to overwork the colours a little bit. Trying to avoid doing that this time around. And add in the red for the other part of the shoe as well, I think. To be honest, I might just do the red eyes with a marker, just because it's so fine. Some of my alcohol markers, some of them have a nice fine bullet tip, so I'll probably use that instead. This paper probably isn't really designed for watercolour, but it's a sketchbook, so I don't really care. Also for my painting, I have 2 dishes of water. These are like all dessert cups that I've just turned into paint water dishes. So one is like a dirty paint water dish, and then one's like my clean water dish. So I tend to dip, when I want to wash off the brush, I dip it in the dirty water first, give it a wipe on a towel, and then dip it in the clean water. I think I might be able to go in with the yellow. I'm going to do it with this brush, the smaller brush. This is like the only like small brush I have, so I find this works better. Dries I'll darken up this skin colour area. I'm wondering whether to go with a brown to shade it, or whether that might be a bit too intense, I'm not sure. I might just stick with the orange for the skin colour actually. So far this has turned out really nicely, I just need to be a bit patient. Probably what I'll do once this is all dry is I'll do a little wash of yellow around the character to add like a bit of a glow. Might do another wash of the yellow as well, just to really bring it all together. Maybe just soften that brown slightly, but I need to wait for that to dry first. But so far, I'm liking how this is looking. This is one of my best watercolor pieces I've ever done. Oh, I need to do the shoe buckle. I might do that with a marker or a colour pencil, to be honest, because that's quite fine. I don't really have a brush that's small enough to do that. This is nearly finished, I think. Just need to do that buckle and the eyes, and then I think I will call it a day on it. I'll do the gradient little glow wash thing. Gonna use that colour for the glow. Also ignore the grey splotch, accidentally dripped some grey paint into it, and it's just dried like that. Just gonna do the eyes, I think. So I'm gonna go in with this fine liner. And I've also got this like pinky magenta colour for a slightly darker tone. Lost my marker. Maybe this is where the gel pen comes in actually, so I wouldn't mind just adding a little highlight to the eyes. What I like to do with that is kind of smudge it a little bit. I'm going to add some highlights to Sonic now, I think. Actually, before I do that, I just noticed I've done his buckle on his shoe. I'm going to do that with a marker as well, I think. We're going to stick out like a sore thumb, but I just feel like I'd rather go with a fine liner. Plus, I'm not against having a mixed media piece. Just go with the colour pencil on the shoes, just to accent them a little bit. I don't want to put too much colour on, so I'm using the Arteza colour pencil set. Just a nice simple little box of colours. I find they're quite nice, and then here's the swatches, so I swatch everything. Cool, I think that'll do. And then I just want to go with that glow. I think we are quite dry now, so I'm gonna go with a soft glow. I'm gonna use this colour, this one here. I'm not gonna do anything fancy, it's literally just gonna be a wash around the border of the character. Oh, that's really muddy. So I'll go in with a different brush. I'll go in with this one. That'll do. I don't want to overwork it too much. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, actually, I'm going to sign it as well. I'm going to sign it with my favourite Spectrum Noir brush marker. I always sign and date my sketches. There we go. I think that is a success. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will try and do more sketches on YouTube as well. If this is something that interests you and you enjoyed watching, please consider subscribing and follow me on all the social medias. I'm the same name across everything, check the description for details. And for those of you who are going to Confuzzled, I will see you there. Take care everyone, bye!